What is going on, everyone? Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Walk and Talk podcast. It's your host, Mateo Elvira, here with Bruno Pozo. Bruno, what's going on?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back.
And thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. This is episode 4 of this podcast, and we want to thank the viewers out there so much for their continued support. And we just wanted to share some few updates for you in the tech world and content creation. So I'll flip it over to Bruno to share some updates on Snapchat's latest features.
All right, so big news here. Snapchat is now trying to create this sort of short form video format so they can compete with TikTok right now. And apparently they're calling it Spotlights. And it's practically the same idea. It's about to be 15 to 60 second videos that you can share on Snapchat. Except for they're gonna have a separate, like location for it. It still will be native to the app, so you still need to open Snapchat and post there. But there will be now a spotlight reel in which you can view content through. So pretty much that's just their form of trying to get people to make content. And as you can see, like this whole sphere of social media, they're all kind of feeding off of one another. Yeah, they're honestly feeding off one another, mimicking each other, and seeing what sticks. And apparently this sort of short form content, the micro content as we like to call it, is getting traction. And the interesting thing about the Snapchat thing, before we I give you a moment to speak, the Spotlight, apparently they're trying to promote it by paying the people who have the most viral content. They're giving out $1 million a day.
To one single person, or
no? From the way,
just like in total funds.
I think yeah. The budget is $1 million a day to any of the top creators, and so I think that's a really nice incentive, right? So it was a funny little note that I think they're doing. So that's just how they're trying to get into that sphere, like get their wedge in there.
At least get people to try it, right?
Yeah. So that was interesting. Did you have anything to share about that? Or
yeah, so I think I wanted to bring this up for our audience here because Bruno actually showed me a really good video that we watched right before we started recording here. Do you remember the names of those two gentlemen? Or
yeah, so it's Anthony Fantano, who runs the Needle Drop, is very famous like music critic channel, and he does a bunch of other content related to music. And then the other guy is Finn McKinley, and he also does music reviews, but his is more. I think his channel's called the Hard Rock MBA or Rock MBA, because I guess it's like a bachelor or whatever. But it is also sort of like news related, but to music. And he's more of like a rock kind of guy. But yeah, they're just two YouTubers that are in the music sphere, I suppose.
Yeah, so I guess literally this is, like a day or two before Thanksgiving in 2020, and these social media apps are literally competing for user-generated content. And I was really inspired by this video that Bruno shared with me, because literally what they mentioned in the video was that a lot of people think that they don't have anything of value to share, or they have to lean on certain things to become a content creator, like you just have to share the news or whatnot, right? And I think if you are a human being that has interests, which means you like a specific movie or you like specific type of music, or if you are a consumer of some thing, then odds are you probably aren't the only one who likes that. And because you could speak about it or to it or resonate with strangers through this subject, basically gives you an idea of, if you wanted to become a content creator, that you don't really need to have anything but other than your own interests.
Yep.
And so I just wanted to ask you, like, what did you sort of take away from the video for our viewers here? What have you learned as far as just the democratization of being a content creator and just being who you are at your core, and using that to drive your income and your duties and like what basically your life lives around? Because everyone has interests, in my opinion. Everyone has something. I hate when someone says, I don't know if I have anything to share. It's like, well, do you like things? Okay, well, do you feel comfortable talking about these things? And if you can say it in front of a camera, and you can add subtitles and add a little layer of music, like, there's not much else that you can do that's like genuine and authentic and easy to start. I mean, what are your thoughts there? I know it's kind of long-winded.
No, you're good. Yeah, so for anyone who might be listening, the video we're actually referencing is How to Social Media, and it has those two gentlemen we mentioned previously, so Anthony Fantano and Finn McKinley. And it was true. An interesting point that they brought up was in terms of social media, it really is about just being, actually, not necessarily even being authentic. Finn McKinley talks about pandering to your audience, which I wouldn't recommend either, but it is a viable strategy. But what you need to understand with social media and with the democratization of content, as you were saying, is that people are attracted to people who are like themselves. And people who feel like they don't have interesting lives or interesting personalities or a lot of money or good looks or whatever, it's true, like you might not have those things, but what you should realize is that you do have interests. And in this day and age where people can just talk about anything, especially any niche, it could be something as simple as
Yeah.
Smurfs. I think that was the video that Gary Vee you showed me a long time ago when he was just a wine guy. He mentioned, like, imagine being someone who's just really into Smurfs and you just did a bunch of content related to that, whether it be updates or like old reviews or just, even commentary on it. It could be as simple as that, like your opinion, and then sharing that out daily. You'd be surprised the amount of people you can actually, get to follow you, because there's an audience for everything. Like you just said,
Seriously.
if you have an interest, more likely than not, other people are interested in that same subject as well. You're not the only human that likes, trees or whatever it might be. It could be something as boring, quote unquote, as that. And that was probably one of the bigger takeaways from that video that we were talking about, is that you just have to be open and realize that people want to connect to people that are like themselves. And sure, you might not be the most mainstream person, like maybe you don't like all the mainstream pop music, mainstream movies or something, but even if you spend your time watching Netflix or some Amazon videos, I'm pretty sure you can strike up a conversation with a stranger about those things, and you'd be surprised how many people are, thinking the same thing or on the same wavelength as you, as long as you're open to sharing. And I think you're right, it's sad that not many people feel like they have something to share, but if you really dig deep enough, and you don't really have to dig deep at all, there's a lot you can share.
Imagine getting paid. I know this is sounding so cliche right now, but literally imagine getting paid to do what you love. And I know that sounds like a multi-level marketing scheme, catchphrase, or slogan, but like I'm looking at my parents as an example. They're both like kind of shy. I think they don't like feel super comfortable as maybe you and I do being in front of a camera, but my dad really likes cooking and he's good at cooking. And I think to myself, like, imagine if he would just like record himself or let me help him
Yeah.
record it. Like, there's so many like dads out there that want to like learn how to cook, or like so many people that love. He's really big into like barbecuing and smoke. Like, there's so many people that probably want to learn that or like watching those videos and can connect with him. And then if I think of my mom, she's really big into like crafts and stuff. For example,
Nice.
she was big into like making masks when COVID first happened, like literally going to Michael's, buying the fabric, buying the little elastic bands, stitching it all up together. I was like, Mom, you literally have a business here. She said she didn't care to like make money or like capitalize on it. But I think even if she were to just document that, think of how many crafty people would have
Followed her. Yeah.
maybe followed her and just maybe capitalize on their own just through the education and the knowledge that they. So it's just like there's you can take it with a capitalistic lens like Gary Vee, or you could just sort of do your passions and just pass your knowledge along with the world. So
Yeah, and sharing it, like, and that's honestly what people love so much about social media, is that connection to people who they might not know in person, but they know through Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever the social media platform it could be, TikTok, of course. And even though they don't know the person, they feel some sort of warmness or connection towards them. And then now you have that relationship. And if you do provide value or have some sort of ask, like you said, like your mother wasn't selling the masks, but imagine if she had just developed that community of craft makers and stuff like that. And then if she did make an ask, they would be more likely to actually follow through on that. They would be like, oh, she seems like a cool person. I already kind of know her, or they feel like they know her, right? Because at the end of the day, whatever you show on camera is only like a limited scope of who you really are. Or even on social media. It doesn't even have to be camera. we keep saying in front of a camera because that's our favorite medium. But even if,
Yeah.
for example,
Just
this,
recorded, right?
yeah, even just these podcasts, it could be as simple as a picture. That's what Instagram's all about and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be as complicated as being in front of a camera. It could just be just words like a Twitter,
Just
you know.
creating some sort of art or graphic or visual or
Or just sharing a
audio.
thought. Like that's what all Twitter is
Yeah.
about, right? Just sharing a thought. And some people just like it. Like I think it was like Cardi B. She tweeted out like, "It's the balls clapping on the clit for me," and I got like 800,000 likes or something within 2 hours, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I liked it too because I thought it was funny. But I was like, you see, like people just love shit like that. Like it doesn't have to be rocket science. So that's another point of the video that I thought was very valuable.
It's crazy that us as humans, we're like the same but different. Like Back to the Future is one movie, but so many people can relate to it. Or the Joker is one movie, one character, but there's like a huge like movement and like people like that will just love that thing to death. So it's like literally anything has a community in some capacity, I feel. So it's just really inspirational to see. It's really cool to see that Snapchat is entering the game. I'm excited to just see how that transitions. But I guess some parting thoughts for our audience here. Hope you guys are staying safe and staying positive. It is close to Thanksgiving here in 2020, and through the madness, I think there's a lot to be thankful for. Just being able to record this podcast for you guys and share our thoughts. And the internet's not going anywhere anytime soon. And we can always social distance with the internet, and the internet has allowed us to connect with people despite being in a global pandemic. So I would just challenge anyone out there to just find at least 3 things to be thankful for as we enter this holiday and Christmas coming around the corner. But before I get too philosophical here, Bruno, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, we'll be sure to link the full video that we're referencing in terms of how to social media, because that was probably the biggest inspiration for this podcast. And it's something that's so small, but it is so profound. And if you're someone who is into content creation, I think it would be a very valuable video to watch because it really changed me and how I want to approach my social media now. And then even if you're not into that social media sphere, just at least understand that at the end of the day, don't be afraid about sharing your interest, or don't think that you're not an interesting person, because I thought that was a very interesting point you brought up at the beginning of the show, which is that unfortunately a lot of people don't feel like they're valuable or they don't have anything to share. But that's very far from the truth. And if you're a human being on this planet, you have something to share. As there's a Bill Nye quote that goes something along the lines of, every person you'll ever meet knows something you don't. And so it's like, and in that regard, they are a teacher to you. And it's like, that's a good point. Like, just be yourself and don't be afraid. Yeah. That's all I guess I have to say. And then I guess happy Thanksgiving. Yeah. This is the Thanksgiving episode.
Yeah. Turkey up. Stay safe, everyone. And just a friendly reminder to never undervalue your worth and your skill set. Go out there, create some intellectual property, aka some art, aka some content, and we'll catch y'all in the next one.
Ciao, guys.